Hey, Bill here with Chacote Outdoor Recreation. So when you think about a youth rifle, you're going to modify a rifle or a shotgun for your youngin'. You want them to have the same things that you would want for yourself, the same things that an adult shooter wants. Believe it or not, a youth shooter wants. When you take a shotgun, for instance, right? You want to be able to shoulder that shotgun. You want to be able to get a sight picture. If you modify a shotgun, the National Firearms Safety Act says you have to have 18 inches of barrel and a 26-inch length overall. So before you go cutting one down, keep that in mind. Randy Weaver didn't, and the ATF shot up his family at Ruby Ridge, so that's how important it is. The way that's measured, the way the ATF is going to measure that, they're going to take this tape measure, and what they're going to do is they're going to take the tape measure, they're going to take that tape measure and put it right down the barrel. Right down in the center of the barrel, and if it doesn't come out to to that 18 inches, you're going to be in trouble. So let's take a look at some youth rifles, okay? Now, on a typical rifle for a grown-up, when you look at a grown-up's typical rifle, what do you see? You see that the grown-up can get his shoulder in there, he can get a good cheek weld, and get his eye in alignment with the sights, and the length of pull. Where your hand is in relationship to the trigger. All of that plays into a youth rifle. So here's one that I've modified. I want you to take a quick look at it, so you know what we're talking about when we're talking about a youth rifle. Oh geez. Well, anyway, this youth rifle, it's been cut down. It's still, now with a rifle, it's a little different. You get 16 inches for the barrel. Overall, the firearm has to be 26 inches long. So that's what you're working with. You got to make it 26 inches. You can't take down this barrel more than the 16 inches. Now, you want to leave a little more than 16 inches in case that barrel ever has to be recrowned. You want to give the gunsmith something to work with. Same with the shotgun. If you cut down the barrel of a shotgun, you'll damage the choke. The choke is the end of the shotgun, and what it does is it chokes at the end. So you got full, modified, and it basically squeezes those pellets together. It squeezes your shot together to make them fly farther, and so modified choke will make it go a lot farther. And when you cut that choke off, you're basically going to have just a cylinder. You're going to have just a cylinder that you're shooting out of. Most of the time it'd be a 410 that you do that for a kid. But anyway, back to the rifle. Some features that you want to get. If you take your regular 22 rifle, you decide that you're going to cut it down. Make sure that you leave enough cheek coat in there to where that little one can get a good cheek weld, so you can see the sights. What you see a lot of times kids do is they'll get a full-size rifle, and you'll see them do this number. They'll have the stock under their arm. You'll see a lot of this stuff. You'll see a lot of that. You won't see a good cheek weld. You won't see them get it into the arm and get positioned right the way you would with good rifle marksmanship. And so that's what these youth rifles, when you modify them, that's what you're trying to get. You're trying to get to where they can get this into their shoulder, get a good cheek weld, get a good view of the sights, and that their finger can reach the trigger. Remember, they have smaller hands than you. So those are some of the considerations that you want to have. Once again, to go over the cut down things, if you decide to take your 22 or your 410 shotgun and modify it, remember, a shotgun has to have 18 inches of barrel, 26 inches overall. The rifle, you get 16 inches in the barrel, 26 inches overall. So they're both 26 inches overall. Shotgun 18, rifle 16. That's some things that you want to remember. Length of pull, cheek weld, all that comes into consideration, and every kid's going to be different. So you're going to need to measure that kid in conjunction with the rifle, so they can get the most out of that little rifle that they can. And if it's done right, you introduce them to shooting, they're going to have a lifetime of love. So it's an important thing to do. Labor of love. Anyway, till the next time I see you, this is Bill with Chacote Outdoor Recreation. Now, I promised Linda that she could do a safety brief, so stick around for the safety brief. Till then, stay safe, stay warm, keep yourself free.
The topic we will cover in this episode is firearm safety. As firearms owners, our first responsibility is safety. Though we use our firearms for recreational purposes, we must remember that they are potentially lethal tools that must be handled with care and respect. Following the basic rules of firearm safety will prevent negligent discharges that can lead to property damage, injury, or death. Rule 1. Treat every firearm as if it were loaded. Assume every firearm is loaded until you have personally verified otherwise. Or empty the ammunition feeding device. Open the chamber to ensure no live rounds are present. Rule 2. Never allow the muzzle to point at anything you're not willing to see destroyed. This applies to loaded and unloaded guns. Always be conscious of where your muzzle is pointed. Look ahead of the muzzle to make sure you do not sweep yourself or others. Carelessness will cause accidents. When not shooting, it is best to hold firearms muzzle up or muzzle down to minimize the possibility of muzzle sweeping. Rule 3. Keep your finger off the trigger until the sights are aligned on target. Your trigger finger is your ultimate safety device. A firearm in working order cannot discharge unless the trigger is pulled. 4. Always be sure of your target and know what lies behind it. Bullets can penetrate objects and continue on for some distance. Shooting areas should always have a great backside. This rule is particularly important when you shoot in land open to the public. Campers, hikers, and off-roaders may not know of or recognize your shooting area. Always make sure downrange is clear before shooting. Rule 5. Be sure your guns are never accessible to untrained or unauthorized individuals. Your firearms are your responsibility. A safe or firearm safety locks are suitable for securing your firearms from use by unauthorized or untrained individuals. In review, Rule 1. Treat every firearm as if it were loaded. Rule 2. Never allow a muzzle to point at anything you're not willing to see destroyed. Rule 3. Keep your finger off the trigger until your sights are aligned on target. Rule 4. Be sure of your target and know what lies behind it. Rule 5. Be sure your guns are never accessible to unauthorized or untrained individuals. Always follow these rules to be a safe, responsible firearms owner. Thank you for watching.
Mr. President, members of Congress, you've been making a lot of noise about taking our guns away. But you might want to review history. 1835, Gonzales, Texas Territory. The authorities wanted to confiscate the big gun that protected that colony. You know what the people said? Come and take it. Because they were willing to fight for their freedom and their guns. So are we.
Come and take it if you want it. Come and take it if you think you can. Come and take it, but I warn you, you'll have to pry it from my cold dead hands. We want the freedom that God gave us, so you best not cross that line. If you want this gun, you gotta come through us and take it.
One shot at a time. Just like Gonzales, we're keeping our guns.